going to have a go with this little guy again, the WLToys F949. I put a prop saver on this guy a long while ago because when I broke its original propeller. This is what the propeller he comes with. This is the spare propeller that came with him. It's a 5-inch by, it's hard to judge because it doesn't say on it, I'd say about maybe 5 by 4. So I'm just trying to get my hat on straight. I've been flying him for a long while with this, which is a GWS 4 by 2.5, which seemed to fly him perfect on a prop saver, which seemed to fly him perfectly fine. But well, it was a bit bent, and I tried to straighten it, and it broke finally. So now I put this on. This is a multi-rotor propeller. It's also 4-inch, about square, about 4 by 4, I should think. Doesn't say on it what it is. You've got to be careful with multi-rotor propellers that you get the right way round. Is this going to work? Yeah. Because of course they generally have two that go one way and two that go the other way. So if you get the wrong ones, they will just propel your plane backwards. But this is the right one. The one that goes, I don't know, anti-clockwise as you look at it from the front, right? Yes. So let's see what we can do with this guy. Famous last words, pay attention. You have to pay attention to anything. I guess this one certainly works, but it pushes him a little faster than the 4.25, which I guess is normal. You'd expect it to. Quite frankly, I prefer the 4.25. It flew him perfectly fast enough to fly, and overpowering him is just not helpful. It just tends to make him want to loop all the time if you overpower him. Of course, I suppose I could trim him down. Famous last word. Trimming him down a bit because he seems to want to go up more than I care for. Partially because this propeller's encouraging me to fly him a bit faster than I was flying. He doesn't need to fly fast, he'll fly slower, but this, with this propeller, because it has a higher pitch, he's tending to fly a bit. It's hard to slow him down as much as you could easily with the 4.25. So he may be a little happier to loop, but he certainly goes faster. I mean, you could actually see the wings bending there. As I came out of that loop, we were coming out with enough force that it bent the wings. Not wild about that, really. Oh dear, my hat's falling off as usual. Blithering nuisance. Where are we? See, it's very stable, though, with the dihedral. Perhaps it has more dihedral than he should have now, since I just bent the wings coming out of that loop. The wings do not have any spar in them. They're just foam, so you don't want to overstress them too much. I've had this guy for quite a while. He's been crashed, and the main result of the crashes was breaking the propeller, because you bash the propeller into the ground. So I put the prop saver on him. He's on his second set of motors as well. I say set because these have 3 motors. It's a weird plane. It has 3 motors arranged in a triangle driving the one propeller, 3 tiny little brushed motors. And seems to work very well. It's an odd arrangement. You'd wonder why they came up with it, but it seems to work very well. Try not to get him so far away we can't see him. If you can't see the plane, you can't control it, and it's still a bit dark as well. Now this guy, I was just flying the Duet. The Duet did not like the wind. That's like 10 to 15 kilometers an hour wind. This guy hardly notices 10 to 15 kilometers an hour. This guy does not have a problem flying with some wind. You can fly this guy in up to 30 kilometer an hour winds pretty much, although 30 kilometer an hour you're going to have a bit of trouble going into. Although with this prop you'd probably do better than, and the original prop as well. It's so long since I've flown in with the original prop, I really don't remember what he was like. But this is probably close. Even this is about the same pitch as the original prop, but it's an inch smaller, so the original prop probably pushed him even more than this. I've been quite happily flying in with the GWS 4.4 by 2.5 for ages. Definitely, and I've got the original battery, the battery that came with him in him. Now I have a tendency, I often fly in with a nanotech set. It's a one cell, but a high capacity one cell. I've been flying him a lot with a Nanotech 7. I have some Nanotech 750 milliamp hour one cells, and I use those, and he flies fine with those, and you can fly him pretty much forever with those. You fly him for 15 minutes, and they're only down to 4 volts. This is the battery that came with him, which is a 500 milliamp hour one cell. Of course, with the 3 motors, I guess you need a bit more, and we're probably drawing a bit more current with this propeller than we were with the 4x2.5. I know with the 4.2.5, with a 750 milliamp hour battery, I would fly him for 15 minutes, and then put the battery on the charger, and it would still be at 4 volts. You know, you were only beginning to use the battery. He's a little more powerful with this, although that was trying to do a loop without diving first. Even with this propeller on, it's pushing it a bit to try and loop in without a little bit of a dive to pick up speed first. Well, you can do it. I just did. That was a loop from a standing start. Well, not standing, but, you know, level start. Anyway, it certainly works with this propeller. It shows you it does make a difference, though. It does make a difference. He tends to go faster with this propeller. To try and bring him down with this propeller, and I put a fair amount of down trim on because of this tendency to be flying faster, so he can fly faster without tending to go up, because generally these little planes, the faster you fly them, the more they tend to go up. Well, any plane to some extent. I mean, power tends to climb, and lack of power tends to descend. And since it's hard to put as little power, and I'm trying to drop the power and fly him as slow as I can now, but it's hard to fly him as slowly with this propeller as I was flying him with a 4x2.5. And since he's tending to go faster, I put some down trim in to allow for that, which seems to be working fine. I'm still pulling him down maybe a bit. Well, not there, I'm not. No, he's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this trim now. Anyway, we should probably bring him in then. Not that I imagine he's running out of power, particularly. I doubt it. I doubt this battery. I can't test the battery, but I doubt this battery is empty. But whatever. He clearly works with that prop, and he's a little different. A little faster than he was with the 4.2. I quite like the way he flew. I'm lazy. I like flying things that fly slowly, so I was kind of happy with the 4x2.5. Now, the one thing about him I always did notice is that you can't steer him worth a damn when you cut the prop. He'll glide, but with no power. I guess there's just not enough air going over the rudder, and it can't, because he's only 3-channel, and you can't steer him. So you kind of, when you land him, you need to line him up where you are intending to land him, then cut the power, because you're going to have almost no ability at all to adjust the direction he's pointing in. Nearly hit the fence then. Once you cut the power. Lands quite nicely on the grass with no undercarriage. I haven't had the undercarriage on. I was trying to drop my transmitter on the strap, but of course this transmitter doesn't have a loop for a strap. Frankly, it looks to me as if the prop's pointing down quite sharply. Yeah, the mounting of the motors is not super precise. They're just sort of glued in there. And this is the second set that I glued in. Anyway, there you go. WLToys F949. He's had lots of airtime. He might have had more airtime than any of my other planes, really, because he's just so easy to throw up anywhere and fly in virtually any conditions, and so small you can carry him pretty much anywhere. Save the batteries on that. And that's with, as I say, I would think probably it's with a multi-rotor prop that's probably about a 4x4, but that's, see the wind's blowing him off there. And they just caught him there. That's the original prop, which is about a 5x4.